Okay, do me a favor. I want you to close your eyes and imagine the following dish. Tubes of pasta stuffed with a stuffing of some kind. Then all those tubes of pasta are laid in a baking dish and covered with a sauce of some kind. And then it's baked in the oven like a lasagna. Now, if you're familiar with a dish like that, it would be very helpful if you let us know in the comments below where you live and what that dish is called. And I'm asking that because Ava and I are a little bit stumped on this one. So in America, that dish is called Manicotti, or if you're Tony Soprano, Manicotti. Manicotti means like sleeve, like a shirt sleeve in Italian, so it makes sense why tubes of pasta are called that, but we're totally stumped on why the dish is called that in America because it has a completely different name in Italy. It's called cannelloni in Italy. This cannelloni manicotti confusion actually for a long time made me think that this was a dish that was invented in America. We were watching The Sopranos and all the time Tony Soprano talks about his manicotti, and I would ask Ava, like, what is that dish? What is he talking about? And she was like, I don't know, I've never heard of such a thing. It took us a little while to figure out what he was talking about was what Italians call cannelloni. Most manicotti recipes that we see here in the US are, how do I put this delicately?
They are wrong.
I know, I'm trying to be gentle here. Let's just say that we're here today for Ava to show how to make probably the best manicotti you've ever had in your life. But like all good things, if you want to skip the shortcuts and make the best version possible, it takes a little time, so we better get cooking.
There are so many ways in which you can stuff your cannelloni. For sure, one of the most traditional way in which we eat cannelloni in Italy is stuffed with meat. But for meat, I mean a ragu that is very close to a bolognese ragu. Every bolognese ragu starts with a soffritto, and soffritto is made with carrots, celery, onion, and a fat of your choice. It can be olive oil, butter, lard. Today we are going with olive oil. We need to fry the soffritto just for 3-4 minutes until the onions are tender, but pay attention to not burn them, because otherwise it's a problem. In my humble opinion, the smell of the soffritto is one of the best smell in the world. And if you never smell it, do it just for the sake to smell it. For my sauce, today I'm going to use 2 kinds of meat, which means grounded pork and ground beef. You can also decide to do just pork, to do more pork and less beef, more beef and less pork. Choose your combination as you like. At this stage, what we need to do is to brown our meat. Then it's possible that the meat that you use is full of water. If this is the case, give the time to the water to boil off, to evaporate, so you can actually burn. You can not burn the meat, but brown the meat. In the old traditional way of making bolognese ragu, one of the most important ingredients was the milk. But back in the past, there was a reason why people had the milk, because the meat was very, very tough. So they need something to tenderize it. But nowadays, I don't think that the meat we eat is tough. Actually, is maybe too soft sometimes. So we don't really need the milk. We can easily skip it. Another very important ingredient is the nutmeg. So we grate some fresh nutmeg. And now is the moment of the wine. I'm using white wine because it doesn't really matter if you use white or red. The only difference is that the red will make your ragu darker. The white maybe will keep the same color. Important is that you use a wine that you are also willing to drink, because you don't cook with a bad wine. It smells good. I know what now. Once the smell of the alcohol burns off, disappear, is the time in which we can add the tomato paste. And now I'm adding some tomato puree. I need to say 2 words about this because during the course of the years making the bolognese, I received a lot of critiques that the tomato doesn't go in the bolognese and blah blah blah. And it was actually true because the original recipe required just 4 tomato paste. But guess what? Last year the Camera di Commercio di Bologna, who made the original recipe of the bolognese ragu, update his own recipe, and they had tomato, so I was right. I always add tomatoes to my bolognese sauce because when you make lasagna, when you make cannelloni, when you make a baked dish, a pasta dish, you need a liquid in which the pasta can cook. If we were using the traditional and old bolognese ragu recipe, when you make the cannelloni without tomatoes, they don't really cook properly. And now we let it cook on a very low heat. This is a rule for every kind of ragu. More they cook, better they are. In this case, I suggest at least 2 hours and a half, no less.
While the bolognese cooks, I'd like to tell you guys about how today's video sponsor seriously helped us out. Not too long ago, Eva sustained a back injury and went through a really long and painful recovery process. And one of the things that helped a lot, we noticed the effects immediately, was switching to a Helix mattress. That's because after taking a short quiz about your personal preferences, Helix will pair you with a premium mattress that's made just for you. Everyone's body is a little bit different, and what you need might not be the same as what an off-the-shelf mattress offers. We took the quiz and were paired with a firm mattress that really helped alleviate some of Eva's pain and significantly improved her life. Once you're paired to your perfect mattress, it's shipped conveniently right to your door with free shipping in the US. It's actually pretty cool. It comes rolled up in a box and you cut it open and the mattress inflates. It couldn't be easier to get that mattress into whatever room in your house you need it to go, get it unpacked, and you're good to go. Plus, you're guaranteed to love the mattress because there's a 100-night sleep trial. That's right, you can try out the mattress for 100 nights, and if you don't like it, they'll come and pick it up. Each mattress also has a 10-year warranty, and Helix offers flexible payment plans and financing options. Visit helixsleep.com/pastagrammer and you will get 20% off your own mattress. Plus, they'll throw in 2 free pillows. A big thank you to Helix Sleep for supporting the channel and sponsoring this video.
While the ragu is cooking, we need to make the pasta. And yes, I said making the pasta because the real cannelloni require egg fresh pasta. We don't use those pre-made tube. Yes, they exist in Italy, but when we make cannelloni, we want the best. And believe me that with the egg fresh pasta, you take your cannelloni to another level. As you can see, I'm making a very simple egg fresh pasta dough, which means I'm going to use all-purpose flour and egg. And like always, we wrap the pasta in plastic paper and we let it rest at least for 30 minutes. More it rests, better it is. The ragu alla bolognese is not the only sauce that we are going to use with our cannelloni. We need also the white sauce, the Italian white sauce, that is besciamella. For people who are not familiar with what besciamella is a white sauce made with butter, flour, milk, salt, nutmeg, and black pepper. is the moment to roll our pasta. I'm going to use a pasta machine. If you don't have the pasta machine, you can roll it also with a rolling pin. But if it happens that you have one, use it, because it will make all the process easier, quicker, and also the pasta will have always the same thickness. And this is what we want, because we will cook it all together. Start with a small piece of dough, and while you are working on this, keep the other always wrapped in plastic, so you will avoid that it dries out too quickly. It's very important that when you use your pasta machine, you start from the 0 setting, and then step by step you increase the number. Don't do like my husband, where he starts from the highest one and then he breaks the machine. Because my stripe of pasta is becoming too long, what I'm going to do is cut this more or less in an half and keeping working on a smaller piece. The pasta is pretty thin, but not too thin. I stopped at number 7 because to my taste this is the right thickness. If you like it a little bit thinner, go also for the number 8. Once you have your sheets ready, what you need to do is cut in the size of a cannellone. I think that my cannellone will be 15 centimeters per 10 and a half. If you do them a little bit bigger or a little bit smaller, it doesn't really matter. Like when we make lasagna, we need to boil our sheets of pasta for 30 seconds, no more.
This is my favorite moment, when you grab the baking dish, because that means it's ready to actually start making the dish.
Now we can make the cannelloni. So the first step is to adjust our stuffing. We are going to mix some meat, bolognese ragu, sauce, call it as you want. Then I'm going to add some besciamella. And then, last but not least, Parmigiano Reggiano. Always the same rule: as much you want, as much you have, as much you like, as much you feel that is good in your cannelloni. It's pretty good, but the rule is always the same. Cheese is never too much. I'm going to use a piping bag to stuff my cannelloni. If you don't have, you can also do with a spoon, but for sure with a piping bag is much easier and much less messy. At the bottom of our pan, a little bit of sauce. And now we stuff our cannelloni. We need to roll them, and we place the cannelloni in our tray. Now we place extra sauce ragù alla bolognese on top. We place some besciamella and a very generous layer of our beloved Parmesan. And now is the moment in which we can bake them. I'm baking them at 400 degrees Fahrenheit, that should be around 200-205 degrees Celsius. After 25 minutes, I took out the aluminum foil and I will cook them for about other 15 minutes or until they are brownish on top with that nice crust that everyone loves.
There she blows, the white whale.
But you know what? The real buon gustaio or buon gustaia in Italy looks for those. This is the real buon gustaia in Italy. Because as you can see here, is all crunchy. È la parte più buona. The smell, it's enough to be satisfied.
I've had your cannelloni many times, but this is my first ragu stuffed cannelloni, meat stuffed cannelloni, and I'm very, very curious to see how this compares to a lasagna alla bolognese because they're very similar but with some key differences.
I'm very curious to understand from you if you prefer this or lasagna alla bolognese.
It's one of those times where if YouTube could only just transmit smells, that would be really fantastic because if you've never had this or lasagna alla bolognese because they smell basically the same.
You can't understand the smell.
Really can't understand. Buon appetito. Okay. Yeah, this is a fork twirl.
No, maybe I need a bigger fork.
A bigger fork. Oh my goodness.
I don't know how to describe cannelloni. It's like cannelloni alla bolognese with the ragu. I know too many times I always said it's a bite of joy, it's a bite of happiness, but this is what it is, a bite of happiness, pure, fresh happiness.
More importantly, it's a bite of perhaps one of the best flavor combinations in the world, which is ragu alla bolognese and besciamella. And I think that's the key to the difference between this and lasagna, because yes, they use essentially, not quite, but essentially the same ingredients, but this has a much higher ratio of sauce and bechamel compared to pasta. So if you're someone who, when you eat lasagna, your favorite part is the ragu, you might like this more. It has more of that.
For example, my Mama Rosa, she prefers cannelloni to lasagna.
Does she really?
Absolutely. In my opinion, what we can say is that 1 week you make a lasagna, 1 week you make cannelloni. 1 week a lasagna, 1 week cannelloni. So you are pretty satisfied.
If you're having trouble defending to your family why you're making lasagna all the time, say, hey, I switched it up. Cannelloni. The fresh pasta makes a world of difference.
Absolutely. If you want to experience the real cannelloni, take the extra time to make the fresh pasta, because if
ragu alla bolognese was made for fresh egg pasta, not for dry pasta.
No, absolutely. It's like. And then don't forget, because with Easter approaching next week,
Easter is coming.
This is the perfect Easter dish for your lunch. Do you know how many Italians are going to cook cannelloni for Easter?
Thank you guys for watching. We hope you enjoyed this cannelloni recipe.
Because we did.
We sure did.
We did.
You will too if you make it. Before we go, a quick shout out to Dominic, a pasta grammarian who made an excellent looking lasagna alla bolognese. So Dominic, if you're watching, I hope you'll give cannelloni a shot and give us your feedback. Let us know which one you liked more. All right, guys, we'll see you next time. Ciao.
Ciao.
You know what I really am liking about this? Is how the bottom is crunchy.
With the lasagna, you can't really have a crunchy bottom. At least you don't have a very dry mozzarella.
This piece is very good.
Which piece?
Corner piece.